Hi everybody and welcome to today's session. For those of you that don't recognise my voice, my name's Liam and today we're going to be covering the maintenance tool and its various functions. Okay, if you have any questions during or after the session, you can speak on the YouTube chat where Ollie will be available to speak with. Okay, so the maintenance tool, you may recognise it as the Datafix utility if you used Prima before. It's a cloud product. So what it does is basically some of its standard functions are to perhaps move a sales invoice back to outstanding or change a sales order cost. Okay, so the first thing to understand is that with the maintenance tool, only certain users can access it depending on their permissions. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is if we log into the administration side of Prima. Okay, and if we click into user administration, and then if we click into a user, for instance, so if I click into my user, okay, so you'll notice there's a tick box to allow the user to perform maintenance job. So providing that this is ticked, they'll be able to access the maintenance within the client side of Prima. Okay, so I save that, update it. Okay, so I click OK on that, and close out. Okay, so now if we log into the client end of Prima, okay, so to access the maintenance tool, if you click into settings and then maintenance, just log in with my my own user. Okay, so settings and then maintenance. Okay, so the first option you've got at the top there is sales order cost change. So if you've updated the cost in a purchase order and you're looking to then kick that back to the sales order, this can only be done once the order is fully dispatched. So if we click into sales order cost change, okay, so that should bring up a prompt on the right hand side. So if you enter your sales order number in there, so for instance I'm going to enter this sales order, okay, and then if I hit search, okay, so if you select one of the lines that you want to change the cost for, so if I look at this one for instance, it will show you what the current actual and landed cost is. So say if I want to update that to £64, okay, and all you do is just click update sales cost, okay, and then it'll give you a prompt to say that it's updated it successfully. So if we just grab that sales order number, copy it, and if we click into SOP and orders, okay, find that order on the system. Okay, so then if we click into the line that I just changed the cost for, you should notice that the cost's updated, so that's updated the landed cost. Okay, so I close out of that and click back into settings and maintenance. Okay, so the next four options are all fairly similar. So if I go through just sales invoice, moving it back to outstanding, this will just change the invoice back to outstanding from posted. So if there's an invoice that you want to amend but it's already gone across to your financial system, you can change it from back to outstanding, make your amendments and then complete it again. it is important that when you're doing this that you delete it from your financial system first, just to avoid any duplication. Okay, so if I key in a sales invoice number and hit search, okay, so this is going to change every single line back to outstanding and should change the header status to outstanding. Okay, so you get a prompt there to say make sure it's been deleted from Sage or whatever your financial system may be. Just click OK on that. Okay, so we close out of that. And if we go into invoicing and sales invoices, okay, and then if I key in that sales invoice, and then you'll notice that it's been changed back to outstanding. Okay, so from there you can make your amendments to your invoice, delete it if you need to, whatever, and then complete it and it'll post back across to your financial system. Okay, so if we go back into settings and maintenance. Okay, so from there you've also got the option to change your sales credit, purchase invoice and purchase credit back to outstanding. As I said before, they're all fairly similar in terms of what they do. It's just if you want to make any amendments to your purchase credits or your sales credits or your purchase invoices. Okay, so the next one we've got is the purchase invoice delete and not put lines back to outstanding. So with this one, what it will do is it will delete the invoice, but it will not put it back to your purchase invoice available lines. So if we click into that, and then if we enter a purchase invoice number, okay, and then if we hit search on that, okay, and then if we click delete purchase invoice, okay, so that's zeroed the invoice, and then put it back to outstanding, and as I say, that will not put it back into your purchase invoice available lines. So it's quite useful if you've if a duplicate invoice is dropped in from a supplier, and you just need to completely erase that invoice from the system, that'll do that for you. And then the same for the purchase credit, you just want to delete that off, and that'll do the same thing. It just won't put it in your available lines. Okay, so then a fairly similar option is to delete a purchase invoice and put the lines back to outstanding. This does almost the same thing, but it just deletes the invoice and will put it back to your available line. So you can still, it's not completely lost. You can still create it as an invoice again if you need to, and then same goes for the credit as well. You can delete that off and it will appear in your purchase credits available lines. Okay, the next option we've got is the EDI purchase invoice from electronic to manual. So just before I run that option in the maintenance, if I just go to a purchase invoice which is currently set as electronic, so this will be an invoice that is dropped in from the supplier. In which case it would be electronic, and normally you can't make amendments to these types of invoices, but if you change them to manual it then opens it up so you can make changes. So you'll see there at the top the document type is listed as electronic invoice. Okay, so if we go back into our maintenance and if we tick that and then enter our purchase invoice number, okay, so we change that to manual. Okay, so that gives us a confirmation message to say it's been updated to manual. So if I hit OK on that and then close out. Okay, so I double click back into that and just hit refresh. Okay, so that's updated to manual invoice now, and it, providing that it's still outstanding, it will allow you to make changes to it. Okay, so we go back into our maintenance. Okay, and then following on from what we've seen further up with the sales invoice move back to outstanding, you can also move any type of invoice or credit to posted as well. So if there's an invoice or a credit that appears in your financial system and you simply want to make the status correct on Imprima, you can do that from these options. So if I enter a sales invoice number that's currently outstanding, hit search on that. So then all you want to do is click change sales invoice status, and that'll give you a confirmation message. So it says proceed only when you've confirmed the sales invoice is being posted to Sage Line 50. So whatever your financial system may be, as long as it exists in there, you're okay to run this. Okay, so then you get a message to say that it's been posted. Okay, and then finally there is an option to remove stock requirements entries. So if you built up a list of requirements, as in stock requisitions that you've created on the system, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about there, if we go into POP and requirements, and then if we search for requested lines, and in the source if we choose stock requisition, okay, if I hit search, so you've got 2 lines there, so they will be classed as a stock requisition. So then what you do is you click into settings, maintenance, take that, and then just hit remove stock requirements entries. Okay, so then if you click OK on that, and that should remove those entries. Okay, so they're gone now. I know that sometimes you can build up like a backlog of stock requisitions that you might want to delete, so that's quite useful for that really. Okay, yeah, so that we've covered everything in the maintenance there. That's pretty much it. So if you do have any questions for myself or Ollie, we'll be hanging around in the chat just to the right. So don't hesitate to ask if you've got any questions. If you're interested in any one-to-one training, or do you want any more information on our training packages and services, just let us know in the chat, or drop an email or contact our customer services team. Thank you for your time, and I hope you all have a great weekend. See you all next week.